mercy, His love, His grace, His peace that passes all understanding. We thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking our posts. If you're with us on YouTube, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us to reach more people. We're going to be in the first book of John, chapter 4. It'll be a familiar scripture, but I want to drill a little deeper in here on this scripture. And it's verse 18. And it reads, "There is no fear in love." There's no fear in love, but perfect love, complete love, whole love casteth out fear. And then it ends with because the reason fear has torment. Fear has torment. I'm going to say that's strong language. It's strong. Where it's defining fear is what it has. What fear gives us is torment. And I know that there's a lot of confusion with the word fear, and we've gone over it in different ways. Where the confusion comes is the healthy fear, the awe, the reverence, the honor to God, as compared to the unhealthy fear. And I want to speak about the unhealthy fear. I know that as I share what most people are circling around in what they deliver as speakers, things that revolve around this world, and as I've said in the past, current events. But I'm just talking about life in general. Just life in general, just our individual lives, our lives that we live in our minds and our hearts. Because where we spend most of our time is not in all these areas that get discussed, even though they do have impact on our life. I'll give you that. But what's happening in our mind, what's happening in our hearts, that's our life, that's our world. And it says fear has torment. So how is it torment? Well, what is fear? Now, we think of fear as being scared, which is part of it, or being afraid, which is part of it. But the place that most people are going to experience fear is in the form of worry, stress, anxiety. Those are the areas that people are going to experience the torment. And I want us to be able to see that that's what that is. It's a form of fear, and it torments us. Have you ever heard someone say they had an anxiety attack? I'm sure you have, because it's pretty common. It's pretty common for somebody to have an anxiety attack. And would you call that torment? I would. I'd call that torment. So how might somebody have an anxiety attack? Well, here's how I believe someone may have an anxiety attack. Something is making them worry. They're worrying about something or multiple things. And then in their mind, they just keep building and building and building on it, focusing on it, concentrating until it just becomes all-encompassing and sends them into an attack or anxiety attack. I carry a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot that I have to navigate through in my life. And I have to go down this path of going through any given day of dealing with lots of things. I'm not complaining. I'm not looking for sympathy or empathy. I'm just explaining how it works for me. And I'm going through all these different processes in my life that impacts other people's lives, my decisions do. And this past week, my wife was kind of just picking my brain on some things, and she knows that I'm going climbing these mountains that I gotta climb, these hurdles I gotta get over. And I said, well, I just have to keep going through what I'm going through, what I have to deal with. But at the same time, I told her it's like focusing on it in the form of worry, stress, anxiety is not going to help me. It's not going to make it better. It's not going to get it accomplished. So for my point, staying on point, staying focused on what I need to tackle, I can't go into that place where you just start spinning. You just start spinning on it. And of course, like I said, I watch people's lives and I hear what they're going through, and they stress, they worry, anxiety sets in, and maybe they even have an anxiety attack. Now, what I'm attempting to do with you right now and throughout when I touch people's lives is to give them tools to stay away from the torment side. Stay away. To stay on the side of perfect love casts out fear. Perfect love casts that out. And that's part of what I call going through our rituals, our routines, our processes, what we are, our good habits, like healthy fear, good habits, which is prayer, it's fasting, it's the word, focusing on the word, and different things that help us stay in that place. And we have to find that individually. And that's why we should have some form of what we can repeat on a daily basis of things to do to stay in that place. And so much of that, of course, is us staying plugged in with the Lord. Yes, we could stay plugged in with the Lord and still our mind can start worrying. But that's where we got to bring it back and say, okay, let me bring it back to here. And I get people telling me, oh, have faith, it's going to be okay. And I'm okay with that. But some of that I could tell it's not genuine. It's just saying the right thing. And not being able to pull back, like for myself, when I hear somebody and they're giving me what they're up against. And a lot of times it's not a real big thing, but to them it's big, it's huge, it's a big thing. And I'm not going to say, oh, don't worry about it, it'll be okay, that's no big deal. I won't say that. And I said in my mind, I'll say, okay, and I'll look at it. But the reason I'm sharing that to say, okay, I'll look and say, there's ways to move past what this individual going through, whatever that might be. Now, yes, there's some big ones like people that may have stage 4 cancer, or they're the only one that has an income in their house and they lost their job, and they don't have a surplus of money sitting in the bank, and it's going to change their life. That it's going to be a new chapter in their life. They're going to have to reinvent themselves. They're going to have to pivot. They're going to have to maybe sell their house or whatever it might be. And that's a lot for people. It's a lot. And so I can understand that. But at the same time, it's not where we need to say that's it. And some people will say this, it's the worst thing that ever happened. I always tell people, watch out with that line. Watch out with that line. The reason is because that becomes our reality. It becomes our reality. And instead of staying back and saying, okay, what am I up against here? What am I up against? And all this other stuff, the outside voices that are going on around us in this world, again, the current events, there's a lot of fear in there. A lot of fear is used. And we need to be wise that fear is used to move us, to manipulate us to go a certain way, to think a certain way. The fear is used. It's not just used in current events, because it's used greatly in current events. It's used greatly. But people use it in this type of setting also. What do I mean? In a church environment, fear is used, not the healthy fear, the unhealthy fear. And I watched this. Uh, a lot of leaders use fear, and the reason they use fear is because people react to fear instantly or quickly, as compared to what? To love. When you lead out of love, a lot of people won't respond to love. They'll take advantage of love. They'll step on love. And what does that mean? You lead out of love and they look at it as a weakness, which it's not. It's actually stronger. Leading out of love is a stronger leader than a leader that leads out of fear. It's easier for somebody just to go to fear as a leader and use that intimidation, bullying, guilting, putting that on people's lives. You better do this, you better not do this, and have all these ways of making people pay if they don't do what the leader asks them to do or is requiring them to do. There's a lot there, and I think you can put those together. It happens in the workplace also, where fear is used. Now, there's some people, they just won't respond to love. They won't. And I understand that. I get it. Now, for myself, I'm not the person to lead a person like that. It's not something that I'm wired to do. I'm not wired to lead somebody that doesn't follow love. I look at that individual and I'm like, they need a different leader than me. My the fuel that I use is going to be love. I'm going to lead out of love. And what that leads to is a lot of people not staying and doing what they're supposed to. And I'm not talking about the do's and don'ts of religion. That's not what I mean. But obligation, responsibility, diligence, thoroughness, consistency. A lot of people won't have those virtues if fear is not on the table. But it says a lot about a person. That if you say, okay, here's love, do the right thing out of love, be diligent, be consistent, be faithful, be loyal, be counted on, let your word be gold, let your yeas be yeas and your nays be nays. A lot of people, they won't do that. It's the Godfather thing, it's the mafia thing that they know. It's what they understand. And I'm not the man to lead that. Those leaders are a dime a dozen. Those are a dime a dozen. They're all over the place. But a leader that's saying, okay, I'm going to lead out of love. It's a great environment when you find that. When you find that environment, it's a beautiful environment. Love casted out fear. Last week, we spoke in detail about laughter and humor. That's part of it. The laughter and humor and leading out of love, they go hand in hand, as compared to the fear, the guilt, the heaviness, the manipulation. That's a whole different environment. And it's hard to smile. It's hard to laugh. It's hard to enjoy. It's hard to rejoice in that environment as compared to the love environment. And I've made this decision decades ago. Decades ago, I made a decision that if I have to climb higher mountains and jump higher hurdles in order to stay over here in the environment of love, that's what I'm going to do, as compared to saying the path, an easier path, the path of fear. And of course, I've thought about this in many different ways and angles. Time. Would I like a lot of time on my hands, a lot of freedom of time, a lot of ability just to do nothing? To have that, but yet have fear, stress, worry, anxiety, that guilt? or no time but love, peace, joy. I'd rather just have no time, but that time that I'm doing what I do, it's an environment of love. It's an environment of peace. It's an environment of lightness. It's that way in our relationships. It's that way in our marriages. What is a marriage if it's this locking horns all the time? There is no easiness. There is no lightness. There is no partnership. There is no teamwork. It's walking on eggshells. It's stress. It's worry. It's guilt. It's fear, and fear is torment. Children go through it. Even a child in relationships with their peers or with adults. When a child comes around an adult that operates in this fear way of, which is torment, that child will carry a stress in them. And they'll be looking, okay, is the fear monger showing up today? Are they mad? Are they angry? Are they going to swing that bat? Or is it an environment of love and peace? And I get it. They need structure. They need order. They need discipline. Yes. But there's a way to put that in their lives and keep the love, the love, the love. Perfect love. It pushes out that fear. Why? Because fear is torment. Stress is torment. Worry is torment. Anxiety is torment. And the place that you live the most is in your mind and in your heart. And people are going through this, and they don't have to even be in church. They don't have to be knowing how to serve God. What I mean is they still, people that don't know God are still experiencing that same challenge. And us that know God, we should have the tools to say, okay, He is my peace that passes all understanding. And He's, as it is said, more than enough. He is more than enough. The Lord is. That may sound religious to you, but what I'm saying is, in the world of serving God, living for Him, is enough to keep us filled. Perfect love, complete love, whole love that fills that whole void. There is no emptiness in us. There is no void. There is no what they call FOMO, fear of missing out. I even look at that. The FOMO, the fear of missing out, is an emptiness. It's a void. Being at the right time, the right place, doing the right thing. That's a great, great experience. The right place, right time, doing the right thing. Right place, right time, doing the right thing. You know what that is? It's surreal. It's complete. It's whole. It's great. It's a greatness that we experience. But when we live in this world of fear and stress and guilt and heaviness, it's not the right place at the right time doing the right thing. For some of you, you're sensitive and you understand, and you could smell fear. You can smell it from a distance. It's just like, okay, that's fear. And it'll turn your stomach. Some people say, well, that's not good. No, the good thing is a person to be able to say, okay, that I recognize that and I don't want that. I don't want that environment. I don't want it in my soul. I don't want it in my heart. I don't want it in my mind. I don't want it in my life. As compared to connecting in a good way of love, peace, hope, joy, and how we connect with individuals, how we connect to people, strangers, people we know, people we meet, people we work with. And that thing where the brother brotherhood where you can just link up and unite and walk together. Doesn't mean you agree on everything. Last week we talked, can two walk together? Let's say agree. Doesn't mean that we agree on everything. Our stance is all the same, but we focus on our agreement. Where do we agree? It's taken me some time to understand this, but one of my strengths is connecting. That's one of my strengths. Now, to me, I didn't know any differently. It's what I knew. But I could look all the way back to being a little boy, and I started connecting. As a little boy, I connected with other boys, other people, relatives. As I came across them in life, I connected. I didn't understand that I was doing that. It was organic for me. But as I have grown older, I realized that that's what I do. I connect. I'm a catalyst. I bring people together. And I'm sharing this to say it's not all puppies and flowers, because there's some people that connecting I do actually does the reverse. It's like a sandpaper. They pick up that connecting I do, and to them, it's a threat. They see it as a threat. And they want to combat it. They want to snuff it out. They want to put it out like a fire, a good fire. They want to put a wet blanket on it. I pick it up, and it's fear. Fear. It's an unhealthy fear. They see it as a threat. Maybe there's a jealousy and envy, and that's not where my mind goes initially. Sometimes I'll have to look at it from a distance and then realize, there's a jealousy because they don't connect. They don't know how to connect. They connect with nobody. They don't know how to remove all the walls. They don't know how to bring those things down and embrace people. And I'm not talking physically, but just allowing them to come in and connect. It's one of my strengths. I got plenty of weaknesses I can go down, and I'll own them weaknesses. And I'm not talking about the crazy vices weakness. I just mean like I'm not a good salesman. I'm not a good promoter. I'm not a good circus leader. Ringling Brothers, shouting with the bullhorn. That's not my thing. But I am into connecting, and if it be, of course, first and foremost with the Lord, with my wife, with my children, now my grandchildren, people around me. And I look at that. Even with children, I look and I say, okay, let me connect with that child. Let me connect with them. And they're just like adults. Some are easier than others. And some I have to work harder at connecting with them because there's this resistance. And I got to work individually with each one as they come across my life. But whatever that is with them, and to me at this point in my life, I have conversations with my grandsons now. It's like, wow, we have conversations. We talk on the phone. We discuss things. Most days when they get out of school, we'll touch base. Call it touch base. How was your day? And then they may have a story to share with me. I might ask them, what'd you have for lunch? I may not. But it's not a long conversation. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But we do this quite a bit. And sometimes they'll call me, but of course they don't have phones, but someone with them, and tell me this, and that. Sometimes I don't talk to them on the phone. I see them in person, and we have that. Okay, how'd it go? How was this? Did you have fun? Who went there? Just things like that. But it's a connecting. It's a connect. We connect at some level. And of course, I coach them up. I'll say that. I coach up my grandsons. I give them instructions. I attempt to give them tools to help them with their stress, their worry, their anxiety. And I could appreciate it that they go through that. And I want to know, those of you that have followed us and been on this program, I've talked about a year ago where my grandson was getting bullied in kindergarten. And it was a stress for him, and it was a worry for him, anxiety. And I had to help him, give him tools. Well, now that bully is his friend. And it has shifted so much that he was having a not so good day recently. And that bully, he saw that my grandson was having a not so good day and went and gave him a hug. And I put this together when I heard, and when they told me the kid's name, I said, hey, that was the bully. And how it had shifted. It has shifted from him bullying with the fear, the torment, the stress, the guilt, the anxiety, to now the bully's giving him a hug and he's having a bad day. It's two different worlds. Two different worlds. But that's a 5-year-old's world, a 6-year-old now. But we're not far from it. The bully that brings the torment, the fear, the anxiety, the stress, as compared to let's connect, let's unite, let's link together. That's what I'm going to look for. That's what I'm going to promote. That's what I'm going to encourage. All that other stuff, don't want it. Don't want it. All that arguing and bickering and debating and going back and forth, I just put in my earbuds and listen to music. Yep. You call that an ostrich putting his head in the ground? No. I'm not going to sit there and argue with someone if I can't make a difference. Their mind is made up. They're going to live in that world. They believe some crazy things that I don't. They promote some crazy things I don't. But watch the fear, watch the stress, watch the anxiety. Fear is torment. And it's not about condoning sin. It's not even anything to do with that. Don't even see it as condoning sin at all. Because love is strong. Love is actually holy. Love is holy. The right love. Thank you for joining us on this Pastor's Corner. Thank you for being with us. If you lasted this long, you probably walk in love and are looking for that, or you would have turned us off by now. If you'd like to join us in person, we'll be back here at 12 Arizona time, noon. I think it was last week somebody chimed in and said, I'm following you from here in, I believe they were in Kenya. And they were live with us. It was encouraging. But those of you that are here in Arizona, we'll be back here in person. The difference is this is a little sterile because I'm looking into a camera. What I look to do when I speak in person, minister in person, is to connect. It's a big part of what I look to do. So we'll be here at 1363 South Vineyard in Mesa, Arizona, 85210. If you'd like to bless us financially, yes, it'll help us out to keep building the kingdom. Yes, it takes finances. There's some ways on the screen. And again, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for being with us. Have a blessed Sunday.